Good morning, Year 5. Today is Wednesday, the 27th of January 2021, and we're continuing our study of Floodland Chapter 9. And today we're going to be reading in unison, where we read together, so you'll be reading alongside me. And just like I said in recent weeks, maybe just turn the volume down slightly when we read, just in order to help you. But that's not for now, that's coming up a little bit later. Before that, we are going to do our do now. So, like always, when you see the pause sign, you're going to have to pause this slide in a moment. Now, just like yesterday, we don't need any printing, so I'm going to show you how to lay out your do now answer. So, I will show you my screen. Excuse me. So, you can see here that I have done reading with the date, 27th of the 1st, 2021, and I've written my do now and underlined it. You have 3 questions to answer. So all you have to do is write down which one your answer is and then give a reason. So you could say, you could write down A, you don't need to write down the full word, you just write A or B, A, because. And then you need to give your own explanation of why. Then you would do 2. You write down your answer and because, and make sure you give your explanation. And the same then for the third one of the do now. Write down A or B and your reason. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the slide. You're going to press pause. You're going to complete this do now in your book, providing an explanation. Okay, so pause the video here and off you go. Okay, well done. We're going to look at some answers. Right, so I have the book in front of you with ticking or fixing. Right, so I haven't provided an explanation here. I'm going to give one verbally. That means I'm going to tell you my explanations as we go. So in what situation would I speak defensively? So the answer is A. If I was accused of something, doing something I didn't do, that's when I would speak defensively. Because defensively means to act in a way to defend yourself. Now, if I knew I had done something wrong and I had been caught, I wouldn't probably act defensively because I had been caught and I knew I was wrong. But if I was accused of doing something I didn't do, then I would speak defensively. So my reason is that defensively means to act in a defensive way. So A and then an explanation. So tick or fix if you got that correct. Let's go to B, or the second, number 2, sorry. Why might you speak tactfully to someone? Because they are upset or because they are happy? The answer is because they are upset, because speaking tactfully, so my explanation is speaking tactfully means that you are aware of the situation and you treat it with sensitivity. And your explanation doesn't have to be exactly what I said. It can be your own explanation as long as you explain tactfully correctly and the reason behind speaking to someone because they are upset. And finally, number 3 of our do now. Which sentence below uses the word confined correctly? So I was confined to the playground during extra play, or I was confined to the classroom because it was raining. So the answer is B. And my reason would be is because confined means to have a limited area or space because of something, and because it was raining, I have a limited space to travel. I can only stay in the classroom, whereas being confined to the playground during extra play wouldn't really make sense, as extra play is something we all like, and the playground is a big open space. You wouldn't really be confined to it if you were happy to be there. So pause the video here if you need an extra couple of minutes to mark your do now. Otherwise, we're going to continue with our reading in unison. So reading in unison, just to explain once again, is when you read alongside me. So we're going to read the entire chapter together. Now, most of the time we'll read together. Some of the time I will tell you to go and read on your own. So maybe turn the volume down ever so slightly now, just so that I don't drown you out as we read together, really practicing our intonation or expression or fluency and adhering to punctuation. Really important. If you lose time on this video, it's probably because that you missed a full stop or you missed a comma. Therefore, if that happens, just rewind and then continue with me when you're ready. So, number 1, off we go. This is my turn. You are reading alongside me. 3, 2, 1, together. Zoe knew time was running out. She would have to find Laika fast, or she was going to get caught up in a fight she wanted nothing to do with. Her fate would become a matter of chances then. With Munchkin occupied for a couple of hours at least with Doobie's meeting, Zoe decided to find his hideout. She was convinced she could do a deal with him, just like her parents had with Sarah. They traded food for a useless bit of jewellery. She would trade information for silence, her boat for not telling Doobie about Munchkin's lair. But to do that, she had to find it first. She had to do it because being seen by anyone, and that was one of the things about the inhabitants of the cathedral, they were always watching. It was even hard to see everyone who might be watching her. Many of them clung to the dark corners, hidden from sight. Still, the urge in her to explore was too strong to ignore. As far as she could tell, no one was taking any notice of her. As calmly as she could, she took a burning candle from the side wall of the cathedral and headed for the corridor she'd sat in the night before. Okay, hopefully you're able to follow along and keep pace with me. If not, just restart and go again. Otherwise, we're going to continue. 3, 2, 1, go. In daylight, it was surprisingly easy to find the hidden door. She counted the number of steps she'd taken before, and there it was in front of her. Still, if you didn't know where to look, you'd probably never find it. She gave it a push with her hand, and it sprang back slightly. She put her fingers around the crack and pulled. The stone swung towards her. A narrow spiral staircase struck out upwards into the huge old stonework of the walls. Shoving the smoky candle in front of her, she climbed into the hole. There was an iron handle fixed into the back of the stone door. It was smooth and cold. She pulled the door to behind her. Her candle flickered gold on the stone, and she began to climb into the roof of the cathedral. So, that was us reading together. You are now going to read from on down to feet. So pause the video here and read aloud yourself. Okay, well done. So we're going to read together again. Remember, if I'm too loud for you, just turn down the volume slightly because we want you to be the dominant voice. I'm just reading along to help you. Just as she began to wonder when the climbing would stop, the stairs ended abruptly. There was a low tunnel that ran away from her. Its floor curved slightly upwards, and she guessed she was right up in the roof now, in some space at the edge of the vaulting. She walked down the tunnel, choking from the smoke of the candle in the confined space. At the end was a wooden door about 3 feet high. She pushed it open and found herself looking into Munchkin's lair. Almost immediately, she saw a hole in the floor that she'd spotted from below. She realized she'd have to be as quiet as Munchkin or someone might hear her. She stepped down the slight step into his secret world. At first, Zoe thought there was nothing there. There was a mattress, but no other furniture. She held her candle in front of her. There was something on the far wall. With a jolt, Zoe saw it was a map. Eagerly, she went to get a closer look, but something moved to her left. She spun and gave a little cry. There, on a battered wooden box, was a rusty cage. In the cage was a rat, standing on its back legs and sniffing the air. It tilted its head to one side, as if waiting to be fed. "What are you doing here?" said Munchkin from behind her. His voice was quiet, but Zoe could tell he was angry. She remembered that if he were to shout, he'd be heard from below. He stepped forward. "I didn't mean any harm," Zoe whispered. "You're lying," said Munchkin, a little too loudly. He shrank at the sound of his own voice. "No," said Zoe, but she knew that he was right. "What are you doing here?" he said again. He moved in and shut the door behind him. Zoe took a step back, still holding her candle firmly. She tried to work out whether he'd risk attacking her up here. Munchkin seemed to be trying to work out what to do too. For a long time they stood watching each other carefully, like animals about to fight. In the cage, the rat dropped to its paws and ran up and down the length of its home. It suddenly gave a loud squeak. "Shh, rat," said Munchkin. "You must have to be really careful with the noise. Up here, I mean," Zoe tried. "You shouldn't be here," said Munchkin. But Zoe thought he sounded less cross. We're going on to page 74. And you are going to do some reading on your own now. So you're going to go from, "Does he think you brought some food?" all the way down to "Sick rats get." Okay, so from here down to here. Okay, so pause the video and go and read aloud on your own. Right, well done. We're back to going together. I know it's a lot to read aloud, but you're really building your fluency, and it's really impressive to hear all your work in our afternoon meetings. So 3, 2, 1, together. "I know he's not much to look at," said Munchkin defensively. You should let him out sometimes. Do you let him out? Asked Zoe, realizing as she said it that it might not be a tactful question to ask, but it was all right. Oh yes, he said, but sometimes it's such a job to get him back in the cage. He got out of the door the other night, and then I was hours chasing him all through. Are there lots of these passages then? Asked Zoe. Oh yes, said Munchkin, but then he remembered something. You shouldn't be up here. Zoe cursed herself for bringing the conversation back to that. Why not, she said. Munchkin looked at her. This is my place, he said, and you shouldn't have to come up here. Look, Munchkin, I'm sorry, I didn't mean any harm. I just want to know where my boat is. Well, it's not up here, is it? He didn't mean to be funny. Munchkin turned to look at his rat. He started whispering to it quietly, as if he had forgotten Zoe was there. All right, Rat, been a good boy, have you? Look, Munchkin, please tell me where my boat is. No, he said, without turning around. Please tell me, and if you do tell me, then I won't tell Doobie about this place. Then he did turn around. Please don't do that, he said quietly. Well, just tell me where my boat is, and... I can't, said Munchkin even more quietly. Please, don't tell him. He looked at Zoe, and then she saw the fear on his face. She looked away. She knew she'd never be able to get him into trouble, and she hated herself for even trying to threaten Munchkin. She would be just as bad as everyone else if she started that kind of thing. Munchkin, she said, shaking her head. What are you doing working for Doobie? Mind your own business, he said, but it was without anger. Your meeting was over quickly. Doobie's got it all under control, he said. Then he added, please go. So you are now going to read again on your own from OK just down to the end of the page. So from OK down to second. Okay, pause the video and off you go. All right, well done. We're on to page 76. So we're reading together once again in 3, 2, 1. That's here, that is. Years ago. See? There's no water anywhere. Just a couple of rivers. This brown bit here. That's the island now. And that crosses the cathedral. Wow, said Munchkin. Sorry, wow, said Zoe. Her spirit leapt. She could see land. Lots of land. Land all the way from the island to Norwich, to the sea, miles and miles away. And in the other direction, the map finished before any sea appeared. Where did you get it? She asked. It was my mum's. His words reminded Zoe of her mother's pendant. She wanted to get it back badly, but knew it wasn't worth the fight. She already knew she would have to let it go, no matter how much it hurt. Have you got parents? Asked Zoe stupidly. Not anymore, said Munchkin. Have you? Yes, said Zoe. No, I don't know really. There was an end to their talk. Please go. Munchkin seemed to have gone back into his shell. Munchkin, I couldn't come and have a proper look at the map sometime. Please go. Zoe knew she was taking a risk. If she pushed Munchkin too much and he got angry, someone might hear them. But she had to get a better look at the map. Just quickly, to make a copy, or... Go, said Munchkin. She nodded her head. Okay, Munchkin, she said, giving up. She couldn't take the risk of someone hearing them. She decided to come back another time. She ducked backwards through the little door. Okay, so last time you're going to read on your own, reading aloud from your boat down to thanks, she said. Okay, pause the video here and go and read that section. Okay, excellent. I'm going to finish off the paragraph together, finish off the chapter rather, together. Okay, reading in 3, 2, 1. She left Munchkin in peace. Hope had started to surface in Zoe's heart. She knew her parents had got as far as the island and got away too. Her boat was all right. She knew where it was. She had her compass. She just had to break the lock on the shed and she could get away. If I can have her get a proper look at that map, she said to herself. But there was hope. She might be able to talk to Munchkin round, to let her have a decent look at his map. Talking to Munchkin, she'd felt him warm slightly. It had almost been a normal chat, like one friend to another, only for a moment, but it gave her hope. It also made her realise how scared she was of Doobie, and how little she liked his plans for her. Okay, so well done for keeping pace, well done for reading aloud with fluency, well done for putting in effort for expression and intonation, and well done for adhering to the punctuation of full stops and commas. So we're going to go over to our questions now. And just like yesterday, they'll be displayed with a pause sign for you to pause and find the answer, and then to write into your copybook and tick or fix at the end. So we're doing word meaning questions first, very similar to finding copy, looking at the language of the text. So I'm going to write in my copybook or my notebook word meaning questions, because that is the style of question we are looking at now. I'm going to write that. I'm going to underline it as my subtitle. I'm going to write number 1, ready for my first answer. And I go back to my PowerPoint. So, word meaning questions. I'm going to do the first one as normal, and then you're going to do the rest. Page 71. They traded food for a useless bit of jewellery. Which word best matches traded in this context? So, swapped, bought, sold, or did business. Now, we know what trade means. It means to buy and sell and to do business. However, knowing the context of the story, the fact that they traded food for a useless bit of jewellery, one person got food, the other person got jewellery. In this context, traded means swapped. I'm going to write that into my copybook. Right, swapped is my answer. I'm going to get ready to tick or fix in a moment when I reveal the answer. Let's see if I was right. Yes, I was. Swapped is the correct answer. So I'll go and tick that. So you are now going to do the remaining word meaning questions. So make sure you have the subtitle underlined, ready to go in your book to be presented neatly, ready to be ticked or fixed before uploading to Seesaw. So your first question, you can see the pause sign here. I'll read it out for you and explain it, then you can pause and complete. Page 72. Just as she began to wonder when the climbing would stop, the stairs ended abruptly. Which word is closest in meaning to abruptly? So is it in front of her, suddenly, around the corner, or quickly? Pause the video, and when you're ready to reveal your answer, then press play. Okay, and the answer is suddenly. So well done if you got that. Tick or fix it. Okay, number 2 of our word meaning questions. It had the sort of mangy looking tail only sick rats get. Which word is closest in meaning to the word mangy? So pause the video here, complete that, and press play when you're ready to check your work. Okay, and it is diseased. Well done if you got diseased. Tick or fix. Number 3. In the following sentence, what does the phrase, if she pushed Munchkin too much, suggest? If she pushed Munchkin too much and he got angry, someone might hear them. So what does if she pushed Munchkin too much suggest? It doesn't mean he would fall over, she would push. If she kept asking questions, she annoyed him. So pause the video here and write down your answer. Okay, well done if she kept asking questions. Well done. Okay, so well done for your word meaning questions. Make sure they're ticked or fixed before uploading to Seesaw. Now we're going to go to our comprehension questions. So I'm going to write down comprehension questions in my copybook, as that is the next style of question I'm looking at, and I will underline it. Okay, so there we go. Now back to our questions. And again, I will talk through them with you before you complete them. So why was it surprisingly easy to find the hidden door? Page 72. So I've put page 72 on the screen here for you. You need to find out why was it surprisingly easy to find the hidden door. Now remember, with a why question, what do you always start your answer with? Yeah, start your answer with because. So a why question, you start your answer with because. So pause the video here and find out the answer to that one. And when you're ready to reveal the answer, press play again. Because it was daylight was the answer. So well done if you got that. Moving on to number 2 of our comprehension questions. What emotions do you think Zoe was experiencing when she was walking down the tunnel? Choose 3. So in your books, you're going to have to write down 3 of these emotions that you think she was experiencing while walking through the tunnel. The passage about the tunnel is here on this page. You should read it first before choosing the 3 emotions. Pause the video here and press play when you're ready to reveal the answers. Okay, so she's probably feeling anxiety, fear, and nervousness. She wouldn't have felt sadness because there was nothing to be sad about at that point. It wouldn't be the overriding emotion, and elation means to be extremely happy, and she certainly wasn't that at that point. Okay, so well done if you got those. Next one. How do you know Munchkin was angry after finding Zoe in his secret lair? Support your answer with evidence from the text. So I've put up page 73 here. You need to find out how we know that Munchkin was angry after finding Zoe in his secret lair. Now you must give a quote. If it says support with evidence, you must give a quote. So pause the video here, go and find your evidence, and come back when you're ready to see if you were correct. Okay, two possible answers here. There might be more than that if you found another one. Two that I found was he spoke quietly and accused Zoe of being a liar. That is a quote from the text that would show that Munchkin was angry. Another one, his voice was quiet, but Zoe could tell he was angry. And the third one actually is, you're lying, said Munchkin. So three quotes here to support your answer as how we know that Munchkin got angry or annoyed at Zoe for finding his lair. Okay, so well done on the word meaning questions. Well done on the comprehension questions. Finally, this extension is a prediction. So based on the evidence from this chapter, do you think Munchkin helped Zoe to look for her parents? Why or why not? So predicting going forward in the story, do you think Munchkin will help Zoe or not? So I know in some of your narratives Munchkin did help her, but did that really happen in the story? Make a prediction and give evidence from the text to support your answer. So that's the extension. Well done on doing the comprehension and word meaning. I will see you tomorrow for the big question. So go away, do the extension, make sure everything is ticked or fixed before uploading to Seesaw, and I look forward to seeing all your work later on. Okay, see you in the morning. Bye.